want to jump off the side of this mountain, so I don't do it. And you look around and you see everyone else also equipped, and we just start laughing at each other. Because we're in that much pain. Like, it's just one of those things, and like, you'll always have someone who's worse off than you, and those worse off people will have the people who are not as worse off as them being like, come on, fucking get up, let's go.
Right, that's interesting.
Because you're never ever going to have everyone in that. I mean, you'd be really unlucky if you suddenly had all 30 people in that dark place all at the same time. There'll always be someone that's not in it that will be able to crack a joke, take the piss out of someone, and that's how we do it. It's all dark humour. That's why people who are not in the army generally find it quite difficult to understand when they hang around people in the army, because our humour can be real dark. And for people not in the army, they'll be there like, what the fuck?
Really?
Because like it's real. I mean,
what do you mean, like dark as in like quite brutal?
Yeah, and there's things like on operations when someone get their leg blown off, they'd be like, make sure you bring my leg with me. They'd be like joking about the fact that like, their legs literally led 10 metres away from them. And they'd be joking with their knuckles, being like, make sure you grab my fucking leg. I want that boot back or whatever, or something like that sort of humour. Because that's the sort of stuff that has to get you through it. So we have to be like, you know, out in the field when you're in those bad situations and you're like really down, the humour is real dark and depressive, but you'll like take the piss out of someone, and it's all like stuff that in Civvy Street you get in a lot of trouble for saying to each other, but it's stuff that you need to be able to bring you through. It's things like those paras shooting the picture of Jeremy Corbyn, like they're just having a bit of fun because they're having a really shit time over there, they're really bored, but at the same time if they got tasked to protect him, they would give their life for him. They would put their body in the way of a bullet to protect him. So the whole thing of them like kicking off about it, everyone's like, it's fucking outrageous, they should be doing that. It's just a bunch of young lads who are bored in the middle of Iraq, doing stuff that they don't know why they're there, having a bit of fun. You know, you turn it around and you put them in a professional manner, they would fucking do everything they could to protect him.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But we just have that like dark humour about ourselves. We'll like, you know, make jokes about dead babies or fucking each other's mums, that sort of stuff, like the normal sort of stuff. Well, normal for the army.
Yeah.
But in like Civvy Street, people leave the army and start joking about that, and then they get in trouble for it with HR and that, because they're like telling how they're going to rape someone's mum as a joke, and other people are like, what?
You can't say that.
Yeah, in the army, it's like, you know, it's kind of just like
because it helps you deal with the extremes of stuff.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And is it the same when you're in a boring posting like you're in now?
Yeah, I mean, the
do you
humour
miss that?
here is not as intense as it was when I was in an infantry battalion. Like, infantry's are a lot worse because we're the ones that are generally probably going to be in the front line getting blown up. So their humour's a lot more intense because they have to use it to deal with the dark shit of them being, you know, walking on the road and a fucking bomb blowing them up. Whereas these guys here are not necessarily the same. But it's something that you just learn in time in the army. And you pick it up as you go along.
And that humour like gives you the, well, I don't know, I suppose the renewed confidence and enthusiasm just to keep going.
Yeah, it keeps the morale high.
Yeah. Okay. I'm curious now as to how dark the dark humour is. But I won't ask you. So is it then everyone's responsibility, really, to keep that?
Morale?
Yeah.
Yeah, generally in the platoon, yeah. I mean, everyone's sort of fit, but, you know, people go into their dark phases at different times. So there'll always be people in dark phases, you just got to try and drag them out.
Yeah.
But there'll always be someone who's not. And obviously as an officer, or as a commander, so section commander, 2IC, platoon sergeant, platoon commander, whatever, like it's everyone's responsibility, but at the end of the day, it still falls down to us. And like if my platoon are all miserable and I'm sat there and I'm not trying to get them back out to being fun again and being happy, then I'm doing a shit job.
Right. Okay. Do you, a more specific question, do you guys here work with mental resilience training?
It's coming into it a bit more. So the thing is, like, mental resilience training, from what I've seen of it, is generally what the army does naturally anyway.
Interesting. Okay.
And now they're bringing in all these like actual like courses that we need to do, and it's all stuff like, it's stuff that we don't realise it's mental resilience training, but we just do it naturally being in the army. There's things like, oh, you know, you're finding it tough. Like, as recruits coming through, if they're finding it tough, like as a section commander, if they need to like give them a goal and think about, you know, oh, what are you going to do on that day when you pass off and your family are watching, that sort of thing.
Right.
Which in my mind was like, okay, that's all well and good, but why do you need to go on a course to learn how to do that? Because that's exactly what they fucking do anyway. Like, that's how the army works, that's how it runs. But now, at least in this job anyway, they're bringing in, like, trying to bring in loads of like, MRT training and stuff, mental resilience training, and you're like, okay, great, and you just get a tick in a box for it. But at the end of the day, that's generally how the army works.
Because without it, there can't be an army, right?
Yeah.
If people in the army aren't resilient mentally, and the people looking after them and training them and educating them aren't helping them to develop the mental resilience training, then what are they helping them with?
Yeah, you're fucked, because all of a sudden you've got a bunch of people who, when you then are on operations and you do something stressful, are going to pile in.
Yeah.
But that would happen at base level when you go on exercise. You go on exercise, people have a tough time, and getting them through that tough time, in my mind, is mental resilience training anyway. That's just picking someone up out of the dirt when they're struggling. That's all mental resilience training is. The army's just doing one of these things. It does it all the time. Like, we do stuff, and they have to suddenly, someone's like, oh, you don't do this. It's like, well, we do. They're like, yeah, but you've got no end program where it says mental resilience training. It's like, yeah, because it's just done naturally. It's like, well, how can we see that you're doing it then? So then all of a sudden they have to introduce a load of MRT into the program so that it could be seen that we're doing it. That's literally what it is. But we've been doing it for years. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. You can't have an army without mental resilience training. Like, at the end of the day, you're training people to go and kill people. How can you think that going through that training, learning how to do that, is not going to have a lot of mental resilience training in it whilst you're doing it?
Yeah, it's got to be baked in, right?
Yeah. But we just never been like, oh, this particular thing of me telling you this here is mental resilience training. Like, I never thought that. So all we're doing is just putting a label to what's already been done. It's just classic army making more work for itself. But as soon as it gets Ofsted now, so Ofsted comes in, it's like, oh, what about this, what about that?
Did the army gets Ofsted inspected?
Yeah, we've had 2 outstandings here in the last,
Does it?
5 years, whatever.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. For the training establishments and stuff, Ofsted come here and treat it like a school.
Wow. Didn't know that. So I used to work in education, and it's been quite interesting seeing, like, I'd never been on an army base before yesterday, and my first sense of a place was, it reminded me of like a
This is just
big
school of guns.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's literally what this place is. We take someone from the street and turn them into a soldier in one term, effectively.
Okay, I don't want to use up loads of your time. Well, I've already used up loads of your time, so I should rephrase that. Loads more of your time. Just trying to decide what... you might have already answered this question, or at least we've talked about it to a certain extent, but if you were to talk about the importance of people having self-belief, having confidence, or at least it being developed from something that already exists in the army, versus your understanding of civvy life, like what your, old mates or non-mates are doing from school, or jobs you've had in the past, like what is unique about the army when it comes to either how important self-belief and confidence is, or the nature of what that self-belief and confidence is it?
I don't think you get it in the wider world with corporations. For them, it's more about someone that's going to make them money.
Right.
They don't really give a shit how good they are at it. Generally, in a
Interesting.
lot of places. Don't get me wrong, there is leadership out there, but to a big company, if one of their bods who's packing boxes, they don't give a shit whether he's good at packing boxes or not. Doesn't make any difference. They're not fussed about whether he gets promoted or not. If he wants to get promoted, he can. I don't even know how they would get promoted, but here, there are set rules, set ways, and a set process of how that box filler-upper could get promoted to lance corporal and then become more responsible for other box filler-uppers.
It's like a definitive progression, right? It's laid out for everyone, and there's an ambition that everyone should do it.
Yeah. Whereas in a corporation, it's about the money, isn't it? Whereas the army's not about money. It's about skill set.